people, how's it going? Welcome to the Funhouse and thank you for checking out this video. It is much appreciated. If you do get any value here, please hit the like button and subscribe. I also ask that you share the video. It helps to reach more viewers and that helps the channel to grow. So I watched the first episode of The Mandalorian Season 3 and I just want to give my thoughts on it. The main thing I took away from the episode is not much happens. We had this series motif of the creature feature, whereby characters face off with some kind of wild beast native to a region or territory, which was fine, I guess. So far it's happened in the first episode of each season, but a lot of this episode was just recap. So they showed us in the actual show's recap of how Mando became an apostate. They also showed how he ended up with Grogu, aka Baby Yoda. But then they went over these same details again throughout the episode. The only new thing we got was Mando's quest for redemption by bathing in the pools of the mines of Mandalore. Look, this is season 3 now. Things are supposed to be picking up, so I won't accept any excuses that this is the first episode and it needs time to pick up speed. I'm sorry, but you're a multi-billion-dollar company. If you can't hit the ground running in season 3, then what are we doing? See, for me, Mando and Grogu's arc ended when Luke took Grogu into his care. I think that was the perfect way to wrap up that story thread. Then we could see Grogu in the B stories throughout this season, or he would get the A story when he made a significant breakthrough in his training. I think that juxtaposition of Mando being out in the galaxy, getting into scraps, while Grogu is safe but growing and overcoming challenges under the tutelage of Luke would satisfy the heartwarming presence of Baby Yoda while satisfying the thrill of the adventure with Mando. But they didn't do that. They kept them together and it felt a bit forced. Now someone told me that the show is inspired by, at least in part, Lone Wolf and Cub, which, for those of you who don't know, is a 70s manga series which got adapted into a television series and 6 films. There's even a scene in the earlier series of The Mandalorian that pays homage to a scene in the film Shogun Assassin. But I think the premise of a skilled savage protecting a child works better when the child has a greater bond with that savage. It worked better in Lone Wolf and Cub because the boy, the cub, was the son of the wolf. I just don't think that Mando and Grogu have as strong a bond. I just think keeping Grogu with Mando just puts Grogu at risk, and it makes Mando come across as reckless, really. The crazy thing is, I saw a much better premise presented in the episode. Greef Karga, played by Carl Weathers, offers Mando a plot of land so he can settle down with Grogu and offers him a job as a lawman because Navarro City is now thriving and things are good. That's the show. Now it's no secret that the show is based on the old school cowboy gunslinger TV shows. The tropes are all over the place. Even in this episode, if Mando took that offer, Grogu could be safe and we'd still get our action scenes. And Mando's been ostracized from the Mandalorian culture anyway. I mean, what is he now? Is he even still a bounty hunter? Instead, by the end of the episode, they're off on another quest. Look, in my opinion, if they wanted to do a quest show, they should have focused on a Force sensitive or something. A Force sensitive on the wrong side of right and wrong. There you could still have your redemption arc. You could also have the finding my place in the world arc as well. Just swap out Mando for a Force sensitive. Now the reason I say this is because the show was sold to us as a bounty hunter show. If you're gonna sell me a bounty hunter show, then I want to see some bounty hunting. They did this with the Book of Boba Fett. He's supposed to be one of the most notorious bounty hunters, but they turned him into a crime boss. Now, I can roll with that transition from bounty hunter to crime boss, but he was not notorious. I did not find him intimidating. Boba Fett was actually quite reasonable. And here we have Mando, who's supposed to be another tough guy, and he's nurturing a child that's not even his. So there's a pattern here of pitching the characters as one thing, but in the show there's something else. What's that about? Also, they need to improve on pacing. Make the episodes shorter if you need to. The thing about George Lucas was, he had the ability to leave it on the cutting room floor. No doubt the aesthetics of this show is top tier. I love the color palette, the design language, and the variety of textures, both in the costumes and the terrain. The same goes for the Book of Boba Fett, but they need to let go and be a bit more ruthless with the editing. Sometimes the shots linger on the scenes for way too long. We don't need to see Mando land his ship, open the cockpit, exit the starfighter, and then walk from one end of a marketplace to the next. At the end of the day, the story is what counts, not the pretty pictures. Some of it has to be left on the cutting room floor, because to be honest, sometimes the show can get downright boring. See, one of the key elements to filmmaking is to see the actor's face. That's why they cast attractive people. They're pleasing to look at. Seeing another human's face in the frame is what makes the story relatable. The trouble with Mando is he's wearing a helmet, so there's not much to look at or relate to. So that's why when you're dealing with a character like this, pacing is very important, as well as the supporting cast. Look, I'm not saying what I'm saying as a diss. I'm just disappointed because there's so much potential here. And unfortunately, it's not being realized. It is in some ways, but it's failing in others. And considering who's behind the production, that should not be happening. In my opinion, this is it. This is the flagship show for Star Wars. I would even go as far as to say it's the flagship show for Disney. And if things don't pick up by the next episode, then the future isn't so bright for Star Wars. Anyway, we just have to wait to see what happens. I probably won't do a week-by-week review, but never say never. If things start to get good, I might change my mind. Anyway, if you did get any value from this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Don't forget to share the video, as that helps to reach more viewers, and more viewers helps the channel to grow. Also, if you're into collecting physical media, unique collectibles, or you like to read and you'd like to try something a little bit different, then you can check out my books. The link is in the description. I have a catalogue of 11 titles to choose from, so there's plenty of variety. These are my author's pick. They're a great introduction to my style of storytelling. If you want to try before you buy, you can get a free writing sample. The link for that is also in the description. That said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.